Call to order Rankin City Council, Monday, November the 27th. Roll call, Mr. Scott, Mr. Brower. Here. Mr. Exley, Mr. Blackwell. Here. Ms. Taylor.
Here.
And Mr. Kirkland is not here, but I think he's indicated he'll be here about 7:30, is what I understand. All right, I need hope. If you would stand for our invocation and pledge, please. Lord, we thank you for the day. We thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you for all those that serve here in our city, our council, and our staff. Pray that you continue to bless our city. I pray that as a council, we would make wise decisions in the best interest of the citizens that we serve. Pray that you guide and direct us through our meeting tonight. Pray that you guide us in our decisions, and that all the decisions that we do would be helpful to the citizens and to our city, and that it would all be done to honor and glorify you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve our agenda for this evening.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Taylor, second by Mr. Blackwell to approve the agenda as presented. Any other question or discussion? Mr. Brower?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
First item is the approval of the council minutes of the meeting of November the 13th. On those minutes, I had some grammatical corrections, which I have given to Ms. King. The only other correction I had, Ms. King, was on item number 15, new business, and that was just to include the line item on that amount that we paid out. And that line item was 100, 1,300, 5212.00. Did anyone else have any other changes or corrections they found necessary? Okay. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion approved, second change.
Have a motion by Mr. Brower, second by Mr. Exley to approve the council minutes November 13th with the noted changes. Any other question or discussion? Mr. Brower?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
All right, as we move into our agenda items now, we move into new business, and if you are here in regards to a particular item on the agenda, if you would like to speak in regards to that item, you'll have that opportunity when this comes up on the agenda. If you would, just come to the podium, state your name, and you'll have an opportunity to speak to that item. That being said, our first item of new business is a vote on the second reading of an ordinance to consider proposed amendments to the City of Rankin ordinances, specifically sections 90-21 through 90-40, planning and zoning board language. Now, this is our second reading. Ms. Lewis, is any other information we need since our first reading, or?
Nothing's changed since first reading, and there was a public hearing held on this as well.
All right, is there anyone from the public that has comments or questions on this item? Okay, this being our second reading, if there are no questions from council, our motion would be in order.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
A motion by Mr. Blackwell, a second by Mr. Exley, to approve the second reading of an ordinance to consider proposed amendments to the City of Rankin ordinances, specifically sections 90-21 through 90-40, planning and zoning board language. Any other question or discussion? Mr. Brower? Yes. Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Item number 2, new business, is vote on the second reading of the petition filed by David Burns for a zoning map amendment for a 21.29 acre parcel located at 1350 North Columbia Avenue to amend the zoning of 2.79 acres from limited industrial to GC general commercial, and 18.5 acres from limited industrial to R8 residential multi-unit attached duplex, townhouse, or row house. Parcel is owned by Zipper Family Limited Partnership, parcel number R21711. Someone here in regards to this item?
Yes, sir. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, this is a 22 acre tract, basically down zoning to an R8 zoning to do townhomes with a couple of commercial lots up front. After, multiple meetings and staff reports, there is adequate water and sewer capacity from what we're looking at. This is just a zoning request. And like I say, it was down zoning from the industrial site.
All right, any other information, Ms. Lewis, that we need?
There's no new information on this rezoning request.
All right, does council have any questions in regards to this item?
Well, I'm just gonna say that I feel like, we're putting ourselves in another, picket fence situation right now. We've got the worst, section of property right there sitting beside, we have a gas line that goes through there. We got a railroad track that goes through there, and we got, power that goes through there. I just feel like, there's no way you run a road out to the power line, you're still not getting yourself out and away from that, getting hung up there. I just don't want to be put in that type of situation to have to manage that process. That's really the only thing I can say about it. Then like I said, I've rode out there, looked at it, thought about it, and it just, to me, it just does not make sense. There's other things that make sense there, but residential right there just does not make any sense. You got to pull out of that road, and if you're making a left-hand turn, you got to cross 2 lanes plus a divider lane to get over to go left out of there in the morning. And if you go right, you're doing nothing but going out right, and then you're going down and U-turning at the next spot, which is going to create another situation. So, just keep that in mind whenever you think about the accidents that you could potentially have there. We don't have a light there. We don't have any of that. You got trucks coming out right across the road. There's just a lot of things there that putting residential in just don't seem like it makes a whole lot of sense to me.
I agree. The traffic is terrible, and just no light there for the residents to be able to get out. It's already dangerous. So that's my issue.
I'd like to table it and discuss it some more, maybe sit down and talk about it in a workshop or something that we could, I just.
Would you like to make that as a motion, Mr. Exner?
I will make that as a motion.
Do I have a chance to respond or no?
Certainly, yes.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Well, isn't there a red light coming just a couple hundred yards to the right? So that would break up the traffic turning left, and of course the right out would be like pretty much anything up and down 21, right? As far as the power and the gas, and that's adjacent to the property, you're referring coming through the property, it's not
Yeah,
accurate.
it is.
But so would now be a good time is, we heard at previous meetings that don't want warehouses, don't want anything like that, but it's currently zoned for a warehouse. So would you rather see a warehouse there, or
Why didn't you put it there?
that wasn't our choice? So that wasn't the buyer's choice. But we've had several workshops, or not workshops, we had meetings, had public input, and then here we come to the second reading that now it's an issue. It didn't come up at the first reading. So I mean, I don't think my folks would have a problem as far as, I can't answer for them because they're not here, but, you know, they can, I guess, put a warehouse there, I guess, I mean, but they were, I mean, you're looking for workforce, you're looking for rooftops to put it there. I mean, it made sense to, you got permanent boundaries around it. You do have a red light coming just down from it. Putting commercial up front to block it, what some people say is an eyesore to see residential. But we felt like it was a good fit, but I mean,
Well, like Kevin said, we could do a workshop and discuss it some more,
and when
but
would that take place?
whenever we schedule it.
I mean, could you give us a, I mean, I need to report back to my folks and give them a guideline.
Well, are you doing a motion or what are you
I'm
doing,
sorry.
Kevin?
Well, I think we may have a comment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Come on up and, if you have a comment?
Yes, I do. I'm Pam Dumas, and I'm the realtor that represents the Zipper family. And less than a year ago, we had a contract on this property for more money for industrial, and the city made it very clear to our buyer that industrial was not going to go on that property. And they terminated the contract, and it was for more money than what these people are paying for the property. I have the emails from the city manager, and I can tell you that this is not going to sit well. We're asking for less zoning now than what it was then. We were told it was not going to happen.
How long ago was that?
I can pull the emails and let you know, but the property hasn't been listed for a year, so it's been less than a year.
Less than a year. Do you guys recall shooting that down? Anybody that's been here?
That did not come to council.
No, it never came to council. It didn't get that
Never
far.
had council.
We were told that it was not going to happen.
Terry, do you recall if that came to the planning board?
Not in the time that I've been here since January and not in that time.
No, it didn't go that far.
Okay.
So city manager sent an email back and said,
This is not going to happen.
Can I say something?
but then we put, 500,000 square feet across the street from it. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? I mean,
Yes.
that don't,
Well, that was my point, is we're trying to break it up
right.
to, create some balance in the, in the warehouses, but I mean, that's why I say we're down zoning. Would you
Yeah.
like to speak now?
Yes. First, just looking at the plat map, and I may be wrong, but it looks like the wetlands are such that it would be hard to put a warehouse there. Might be the driver in some of this too. But the thing is that the people of the city of Rankin right now are looking at a mess at picket fences. It's gonna cost us close to $1 million, maybe $2 million because of a second entrance. How many units is that? How many units?
88,
Anything over 75 needs a second entrance.
but picket fences also has a railroad track that blocks it. That's the
Anything-
creation of the problem.
Anything over 75 needs what, guys?
second entrance.
What? A second entrance. And here we are again. And it's no, figure out the second entrance. And you can't get a second entrance in there. I don't know how you can. And I don't think the railroad's gonna get across those railroads. And if we can talk the railroad in giving us another place to cross the railroad at, it certainly doesn't need to be there. Because the railroad's not parceling those out.
Cross it where?
The only way, the back way out of there is gonna go across the railroad track, right?
From this track here, picket
Yeah,
fences?
your track.
No, I'm not putting in a crossing. You'll never get a crossing.
Right, that's what I mean.
I think Ben, you had said before, you were saying coming out the side, talking to the power company.
Yeah, you'd give it to power company
Not
and
getting
create
an
an
easement.
agreement. I mean,
Yeah.
like I told y'all before, I don't care if it's 5 houses or 105 houses. I mean, that would be the plan, is let's get with them and see what we can do to create an emergency access.
Because-
That will be, because there is a
Right.
culvert
It
on
needs to be an
21.
actual second entrance, not just an emergency access.
Because
You
we
put
just
two
went through this
entrances
with
So would you
Kate.
need 2 accesses for industrial?
there. That's not the law. The law says 75 residential.
Well, I think you're dealing with, but let me
I'm not
finish,
putting
let me
words on
finish
it.
my point though. My point is this, is that right now you've got, gas lines, power lines, railroad on one side. You've got warehouses coming in on the other side. And Lord knows what will be stored in those or processed in those. We found out since DRT that there's fertilizer being stored in some warehouses in the county. There's phosphorus acid being produced in another area over there off Ebenezer Road. And we're discovering more and more things that can be dangerous. So until we get a grasp on what's going in our warehouses and coming into our communities, we need to be really careful, because the people of Rankin are sick of picking up the tab after the developers are gone. No offense, but when the mess is left, we've got to pay the bill. So I'm saying this needs to at least be tabled till we can look at it clearer, know exactly the ins and outs of it. I think we need to have a clear idea of a second entrance, whether it's an emergency entrance, make sure those clearances are cleared by the railroad and other people. Because I think the railroad and the gas company's pretty protective of their easements, especially those gas lines. So I just see a lot of iffy stuff that we need to look at closer. And we owe that to the people of the city of Rankin.
As a resident of Rankin, what would you prefer to see on that site?
Well, and I don't mind the townhomes. I just want to make sure people can get in and out of there safe.
Absolutely.
And I mean, and right now, that's a bad spot. I'm gonna tell you, it's
So you're
bad.
telling me that you can reduce it down to 74, 75 units and have one entrance? That's the guidelines?
That's good.
That would be a Terry
Well,
question.
So just in looking at the code, what it says is if a subdivision consists of more than 75 lots, then 2 or more permanent publicly approved entrances / exits are required. So I don't know that this would qualify because it's going to be townhomes and not a subdivision. But just, I'm not saying, like, I appreciate that you want to provide an extra entrance.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I don't care if it's 5 or 105, but I mean,
I
just,
don't
we
want to
wanna,
lock into that.
I mean, that was the
because-
whole process of this. I mean, I spoke with Terry and we, tried to get with him early to see how to approach this, because, I mean, we're not gonna hang our hat on something terrible, because we wanna do something with Rankin, at another time, but.
And my thing is too, another thought I had too is you have townhomes here. How are we able to restrict what can go into a warehouse here? I mean, can you legally? Do we have the codes in place to do that?
What you mean restricted?
What goes in it? So if they're storing fertilizer or something flammable right next
I think
to
that's
it.
where buffers would come into place.
So-
And then you have 21, and then you have the buffers that's put on this track. So I mean, you probably got 500 foot.
But I mean, I just keep thinking of things we need to make sure we've marked off our list. And that's why I think it's not table it for the sake of not doing it, but table it, and not even table it, just go back to the table and make sure we've checked all the boxes. Because the last thing we need is a problem like picket fences again, and make sure there's.
And I'll repeat myself on picket fences. You can't compare this track
Right,
to picket fences because of the railroad. And I understand, I think
but
they're
you do
trying
have
to,
a railroad right there.
but you don't cross it to get out of the
Right.
Yeah,
property.
it don't bind.
Right.
bound you
I mean,
to it.
you're
You
on
can go
both
left.
sides, so you have pretty much, you got a spur, you got a main line, you got a wetland branch, like you do with wetlands. I mean, nothing can be done. EPA is gonna regulate the wetlands, so you can't impact the wetlands. I mean, that's gonna fall back on the developer, and he would be penalized for that. And you got Highway 21, so you got 4 permanent buffers in place, and there's nothing else can happen to the property. And that's what I'm
Never say
saying,
never.
ma'am,
Never say never.
I don't know, you might know more people than I do, but.
But I mean, but I just see a lot of things that need to be looked at. That's all I'm saying, so.
When would be your build out?
I can't answer that question. I mean, this is like I said, prior meetings, you're not gonna spend money and draw sketch plans and go through all the process
If it's
if
not,
you don't have the zoning. So this is like the first stepping stone of it. But again, I mean, we're not wanting to shove anything down Rankin's throat. I mean, we wanna work with you guys. I mean, because we're not, we may wanna do another project in the future, so we're not gonna,
right.
got the hand that feeds us, so.
So the process is, if this second reading is approved, the next step would be that they go and get a site plan drawn up, and then it goes to planning and zoning, and then from planning and zoning, then it'll come to us or to council for final approval. Is that
That's
Okay. So we could have some workshops in between and talk with them to kind of make sure that site plan is what council wants during that time frame.
Yes.
I mean, if you recall, Terry, after the first reading, the email that I sent you, like, are we gonna schedule a workshop prior to the second reading, because I want, y'all's input.
Holidays and all that.
Yeah, that was prior to that, but I get it, yeah. I mean, that was, I think a couple council persons couldn't be here, but,
I would have loved it. I would.
yeah, I mean, we want feedback.
Yeah.
We're not gonna hang our hat on something, a bad product. So, I mean, that when Terry wasn't sure, it was, I think, 2 or 3 people couldn't be here, so they got canceled. And then I think the election had hit about the same time, so it was kind of a lot of stuff going on at the moment that kind of canceled it, but. But no, I mean, if this is approved, yes, definitely we'll set up a workshop and, I mean, like I said, we want to.
It's time to address the concerns and,
Yeah.
prior to you going to planning and zoning, you could have a workshop we could do a planning and zoning and actually a workshop at the same time.
Yeah.
Like we started, and then that would help to make sure all the issues are addressed and make sure that when you do come, you don't get.
Yeah, I mean, that's, like I say, I mean, if y'all ain't coming, can they attend the workshop? And I know they're coming. So, yeah, I mean, we would welcome y'all.
I mean, I think Rankin's been very clear, they don't want another warehouse, would definitely rather see housing than.
Well, yes, I mean, if it comes back to 75 units to create, because I don't know if you have the distance, because I don't know if y'all saw the sketch of the pond,
I've seen a lot of sketches, so yours.
on this,
Probably.
we worry about the rest of them.
I was trying to recall, like, on the previous sketches, we don't have it in our packet tonight, but the wetlands, does it start at the corner, or do you recall and go all the way back this way?
Yes,
Because I was looking at maybe there's possibly.
that's just an outline of the actual.
Yeah, I know.
So it kind of,
There's this, I think, the old stream there. I was trying to find it on my map, but it doesn't indicate.
Probably not like that. It doesn't indicate wetlands, but are you talking about this area right here?
Right in that area, so that could be a place to.
this was a conservative drawing, so the wetlands are outside of the green. Y'all have it put on the screen like you did a couple meetings ago, or no? This here would be like common area, picnic, if the slope falls off, it's not wetland, so you're over here. So you got.
See, I'm looking at this little stretch around, that way, with maybe some,
Well, they had one right here.
yeah, but that was for this
Right
part.
out, but you can possibly put a access road. I mean, that's what the workshop would discuss.
Maybe. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I just wanna make sure that we don't get binded up with something and we do it right, that's all. It's not,
That's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. And I respect that. I
Yeah,
mean, that's-
everybody that's agreeing, we don't want warehouses, we need some housing.
I mean, that was I got the staff report, just looking through everything, they checked all the boxes as far as what it was, meeting the requirements for this, so, and I'm sure there had to be some DOT studies and, stuff like that to make it work.
Okay.
So we can do, approve this, and then that gets us to workshop, talk about,
Your motion.
yeah.
All right, so I believe we got a motion to table, on the table. Do you
I'll
withdraw that?
retract that, yeah.
Okay. All right, any other questions from council? If not, a motion would be in order. Motion to approve.
Second.
And, have a motion by Mr. Brower, second by Mr. Kirkland to approve second reading of the petition filed by David Burns for a zoning map amendment for a 21.29 acre parcel located at 1350 North Columbia Avenue to amend the zoning of 2.79 acres from limited industrial to general commercial and 18.5 acres from limited industrial to R8 residential. Any other question or discussion? Mr. Brower?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Turkey?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for answering the questions.
Absolutely, thank you, and I'll see you at the workshop, all right?
I mean, the goal is get it right.
Item number 3, new business, is vote on the second reading of an ordinance to consider proposed amendments to the City of Rankin ordinances, specifically sections 90-122, amendments, sign regulations, general and special provisions, and sections 90 through 129. Table S, allowable sign functions and required permit fees, and Table 2, list of signs, types, and dimensions allowed or prohibited. Ms. Lewis.
This is second reading, so it did have public hearing and first reading already. There were changes at first reading, there were no changes requested at second reading.
Any questions from council or any comments from the public on this agenda item?
Get up.
It's the last time tonight, I promise. This question's for Terry. Does this ordinance apply to billboards?
Yes,
And is it increasing the size of the billboard you can put up?
yes.
Okay, I'm gonna ask that this be tabled. I'm gonna tell you why, is because when I look at a future picture of the city of Rankin, I don't see billboards. I looked up a thing today, the impact of outdoor advertising. Now this is billboards, environmental overstimulation and information overloads, destruction and a sense of place or placement with people, impact on tourism resources and creating unfriendly tourist and retail environments, impact on traffic safety and traffic flow, impact on the quality of life, devaluation of property values and urban decay, crime and vandalism, devaluation of place and commercialization of placement, poor community identity and a uniform world culture, destruction of a sense of permanence, sound pollution, light pollution. And I thought I agreed with every one of those. And this started, and I said this before, because a young man came before us, and he was a sweet young man, but he never built a billboard in his life. And he had planned the wrong size. Well, he planned the right size for Effingham County, but he was actually placing it in Rankin. And I think he had everybody's hearts because he had good intent. And so we went to changing the billboard codes for our city for a young man that's never built a billboard, it seems. And we don't want billboards. I mean, we really don't. I mean, they're unsightly. And the one thing we heard during the election cycle is we're becoming Garden City. We're becoming Garden City. And doing billboards and allowing billboards, especially of these sizes, throughout our city is going to take us that one step closer. And maybe our sign situation needs to be looked at, but we do not want billboards. I think our original code had it right. Maybe it was too right. Maybe we don't want them at all. You don't need them. I mean, honestly, we've survived all these years without them. I see where they move us. And we want to start painting a better picture of our community. The last thing we need to do is clutter up the landscape with things that we can't take back. Because the minute you pass this, that young man's going to start putting up billboards, and somebody else is too. And so I'm asking if you would to not pass this because of that, and give us a chance to design a better idea of what we want Rankin to look like, please, please. We do not want these things at all, and that's just what I'm asking, if you don't mind.
Any questions from council on this item?
What was the distance in between?
It had to be greater than 500 feet, but there was only 3 allowed per mile.
Shall be no less than 500 feet from the nearest billboard.
Wow.
And no more than 3 per mile when they're located on the same side of the road.
On the same side.
So you can do 6 every mile, 3 on each side, which would really make an unsightly city.
I'll just say, I'm not for or against, but I will say as a Lincoln resident and as a small business owner in Effingham County, I can tell you the few billboards that are out, they are super expensive. And I know because I checked. And I can tell you, I mean, I can see it from both sides, I'll be honest, I absolutely can. I'm not opposed to doing some more research. And, I mean, is this consistent with what the other, with Effingham County, Chatham County, all the other surrounding counties? Not that we want to be like them, but is this consistent with what they have?
So I looked at the other municipalities around us as well as the counties, and it's pretty consistent. It's, in terms of the size, absolutely. 300 is the standard size, kind of across the board for billboards. Some of the others are tweaked a little bit. Some have, less of a distance between, some have more. So, but it's pretty standard, but definitely in terms of the actual size of a billboard.
So you could truly put 6 within a mile, 3 on each side.
Yes.
Golly.
Ugh, I don't want that.
Should we maybe look at increasing the distance?
Why would you want one at all?
Yeah.
Why would you want one at all?
I'm just saying, there's a lot of small business owners that can't afford, and I'll tell you, they can't afford a 7-day stretch for $3,000. That is
I'll
expensive.
second that.
We have a motion on the floor to table this item by Mr. Brower and a second by Mr. Exley. And we're gonna need to table it. We can't give it date specific because we're gonna need to probably go to a workshop. So, or we can maybe, first meeting in January, will that give us time?
And I would do the second meeting in January, so you got the
Give us a little more time. All right, that will be the 22nd. So table till January the 22nd, Mr. Brower.
Tell me a motion.
And your second, Mr. Exley.
Yes,
To the date.
to reflect the date.
Okay. All right, item 3, new business is motion to table by Mr. Brower, second by Mr. Exley, to table until January 22nd, 2024. We're creating work for next week. Any other question or discussion? Mr. Brower? Yes. Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Kirk?
Yes.
Item number 4, new business, is vote on an application filed by Marquise Construction LLC requesting site plan approval at a 3,516 square foot garden center and covered lumber storage area to the left rear of an existing building. Property is located at 591 Town Park West Drive. Parcel is owned by CL Rankin Partners LP and is zoned general commercial. Parcel number R26400001E00. Mr. Brower, how are you, sir?
Pretty good. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Here representing Marquise Construction and Randy West, which is developing this as an Ace Hardware. This is going in the former Food Line facility. The intent here is to renovate the 30,000 square foot, which is the main building, and convert that over to an Ace Hardware. In conjunction with that, we are looking to add a roughly 3,500 square foot garden center and 1,600 square foot for a lumber storage yard. One thing to note is some of our competitors are set up a little bit different to where you have checkout registers near these garden centers or near the lumber yard. Our intent is to have the checkout all at the front. The only time anybody would use the side entrance is for pickup delivery. It just can't come through the front. With that being said, I think part of the staff report, which we agree with, is to go ahead and strike the circular lane going around the building, to not restrict it for fire access. So, nothing's permanently parked there. We agree with that recommendation. Other than that, be glad to answer any questions you may have regarding this application.
Glad to see that building getting utilized.
Yes,
It's
I'm
sitting
so
empty too long.
excited.
And did I see small engine repair?
Yeah, that was my next point.
So that's something they
I'm
have, just,
excited about that.
Yeah, I'm super excited if that is. Take my lawnmower.
People driving the state's car to fix,
Yeah.
to get a weedy fix.
Yeah.
so yes, that is a component of the facility.
Is that gonna happen, it's just on the plan, is it, gentlemen?
As long as we find people to work on it.
There is a need.
There is a need,
Big
yes.
time. If somebody came in here,
Ever
they would
since the old
have so much.
Western Auto used to work on it.
So, looking at the drawings, it looks like there's gonna be parking still on that side in the back.
There's 3 or 4
But
spaces
it's
left
for-
over there.
The tenant in the front of that space.
So the way the entire master plan is, these are all leased out tenant spaces, so it's owned by one property. All parking is technically everyone's.
Okay.
But the reality of it is, yes, more than likely that tenant will use those spaces.
Because I know they park in the back, apparently.
Right.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Exley, second by Mr. Kirkland, to approve application filed by Marquise Construction LLC requesting site plan approval to add a 3,516 square foot garden center and covered lumber storage area to the left rear of an existing building. Property is located at 591 Town Park West Drive. Parcel is owned by CL Rankin Partners LP and is zone general commercial. Any other question or discussion? Mr. Brower?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Kirk?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much. Have a good
Good luck,
evening.
gentlemen. Item number 5, vote on a second reading of a petition filed by Bobby Bagwell for a zoning map amendment for 3 parcels located at 0 Town Park East to amend the zoning from general commercial to R8 residential multi-unit attached. Parcels are owned by CMCK LLC. Parcels R2570033 at 1.20 acres, and R2570034 at 0.85 acres, and R2570035 at 0.78 acres. Mr. Bagwell.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Good to see everybody again. So I brought Cody back up with me too, so we can represent our project. I appreciate the time that y'all are taking to look at our town-owned project again. I know I've spoken with several of you, and I believe y'all have received the updated site plan. And so following the recommendations, we've implemented some of the I would say features to the new site plan. If you have not had a chance to study those, include sidewalk connections, the bus shelter, there at the mail kiosk, the walking trail around the pond dam. So we took everything that you said and tried to implement that to make this a project that everyone can support. So we're here to answer any additional questions you may have since the last reading.
Ms. Lewis, any other information or recommendations?
There's nothing new from staff from first reading in the public hearing.
Okay.
So, come up here for 1 second, I want
Yes,
to
ma'am.
ask you a question about this. Is this, that's car parking?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so each driveway can hold at least 4 vehicles?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Plus the one in the garage.
okay. Is there any parking for, say, visitors?
We have these additional spaces here.
That's for the mailboxes, isn't it? Is that a
Well,
mailbox right
It
there?
is, that's your mailbox kiosk. We anticipate people pull in and grab their mail and then head to their residence or walk to the mail kiosk.
Right,
Or if they needed to, they could also park down here. But typically at the town, usually 2 cars, probably max, is
okay,
what those town users. A lot of times, you don't have enough parking.
right.
So
Right, well, I'm impressed with the 4, that you can park 4 and then one in the garage, that's impressive. Okay.
My question, is, what is this? Is this just green space?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's your buffer area between the setbacks between the units.
Okay. That's good. And just to make sure, so the sidewalk is gonna, you're gonna put a sidewalk, where am I at? As you come out here, you're gonna connect that to the commercial property that's up front, which is gonna take you all the way up to 21,
Well, we can only improve on within
well,
our boundaries.
through
property
your area, you're gonna actually put a sidewalk there,
to the edge of the property.
to the property line.
Yes, sir.
Does that connect the sidewalk though?
I don't know whether there, and I was just out there, but I don't know whether there is a sidewalk on the side of that strip mall.
There's
I'm
not.
not sure.
I don't think there's-
So it's not?
No,
So I didn't know if the city had an improvement plan in the future for, when the city takes on that.
Because that's a short
connections.
piece. I mean, to go from there to the curb
Right.
is really not much.
We'd
from
be
where
glad to
your
do
property
it.
is.
If there's future sidewalk expansion plans that maybe the city had, we weren't sure, but we were just trying to
We're
create.
trying
small-
to expand them all the way along 21, and that would tie in. And if we ever redid the road in there, the sidewalk's already
It's already
there.
there.
But we could connect it to the 21 sidewalk when that gets built.
Yes, sir.
Anytime we have new projects or water or sewer work within the easements or road work, we're trying to make sure that if there's a sidewalk that can be done included in that work.
okay.
Right.
just wanted to make
We're
sure.
doing that every time we can. So if there's a small portion that we can work out some kind of arrangement where we can do some connection, I think that'd be a great thing.
Yeah, be glad to make, we can coordinate with y'all and we explore that sidewalk. If you want to extend it out to 21, we
It
can
will,
coordinate with you.
it'll benefit your community if it gets approved, but also the communities in the back as they come up out of there, because at present, they don't have sidewalks.
They don't have
The
it.
road was, when it was approved too narrow, I believe, for anything like that to be included.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yeah, I'm impressed with the sidewalk and all, and the amount of parking you have, that's good.
I appreciate you gentlemen making some changes and
yes.
hearing what council had to say.
Yes, sir. Glad to do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And if I may add, just similarly to the previous rezoning, this one will also go through that same process that Councilman Kirkland outlined. So back to staff with the site plan, the planning and zoning board, and then on to council. So you'll definitely have another chance to weigh in on that, and we could, do a workshop with that as well if you felt it was necessary.
The fact that they came back with that, I mean, those were the things that we were screaming about. I mean, I'm good with making a motion to approve.
I'll second that this time too.
A motion by Mr. Exley, a second by Mr. Blackwell to approve second reading of a petition filed by Bobby Bagwell for zoning map amendment for 3 parcels located at 0 Town Park East. Any other question or discussion? Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Kirk?
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
All right, now we're
Item number 6, vote on a contract to supply all city buildings with brand-new automated external defibrillators by Centus, paid out of line item 216-3500-5212-00, professional contract services. And the amount on that will be a yearly cost of $11,918.
That wrong.
Ms. Lewis, do you know, and you may not, but is that gonna come out of 23 budget or 24 budget?
I don't know.
3, 4.
24?
24.
Okay.
So it's gonna be 11,000 annual, I'll wait until you talk, sorry, Chief, go ahead.
No, go ahead with your question.
Cause I'm looking at this.
$993 a month for
A
9,
month,
a month.
that's what I missed.
That is all firmware, software, combi pads, batteries. So if we were to buy these units outright, it would cost us about $35,000. The batteries are only warranted for 24 months. When the batteries wear out, they're $500 a piece. So what this does is this gives us the new automated external defibrillators, the Zoll external defibrillators. Gives us unlimited supply of pads for the rental agreement, the batteries, the firmware, the software, the cabinets. So it takes the liability off the city and puts it onto Centos. And they will have training classes.
They also said in the event that we use them, they would, do the download and get it to the doctors and handle that side too.
How long's the contract?
So if one goes bad,
1 year.
Chief Reed, if one goes bad, they replace it at no charge.
That's
because
correct.
it's in the contract.
That's correct.
How many are gonna be at McCumber Park? Just one?
2.
Two, good, that was my question.
Our current units are also already in the life.
Yeah, current units are at the end of the life. There's no hardware, firmware, or software.
How much is it to purchase one unit?
$3,500 a piece.
And how many does this contract cover?
9.
And place them in city buildings in case of an emergency with,
Well, we bought 2 for our office. And the batteries, I mean, they don't last long, and we just quit buying the batteries. I mean, we need a new one, but it's ridiculous.
This is, you're paying for the service plan.
Right,
Because that's what you got,
right.
the
That's-
liability and the service plan.
Yeah,
That's what it costs them.
As a city, when we go to grab it, we need to know that battery's good
right.
and the firmware is up to date, software's up to date, and they handle all that. So you're kind of shifting that liability to them.
9. I don't like it.
I make a motion to
Battery
approve.
something.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Ms. Taylor, second by Mr. Blackwell, to approve a contract to supply all city buildings with brand-new automated external defibrillators by Centos, paid out of line item number 216-3500, 521200, in a yearly amount of $11,918. Any other question or discussion?
And you did say annual, right?
That's
So
correct.
this renews every year?
Every 12 months.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Any other questions?
Just one more, if we build another building somewhere in the city, will that be added to the contract? Do you know, Chief Reed? So, yeah, like another
it
fire
would-
station or,
Another fire station, or the fire station will actually have hours
okay.
for the fire department.
But I mean, say Rhett put in something at Giles Park, or
We would have to,
another park
we would have
somewhere
to
else.
do that additional cost, if that's possible. So,
Any other questions? Mr. Fowler?
Yes.
Mr. Exler?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes,
Mr. Kirk?
Yes.
Thank you, Chief. Item number 7, request approval to pay Savannah River Utilities $149,000 for the Public Works Parking Lot Project, line item number 320, 4100, 541214.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is another phase of our, getting the concrete poured in our parking lot in the back. I think they've got 1, maybe 2 more pours, and that job will be complete.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kirkland, second by Mr. Blackwell, to approve payment to Savannah River Utilities in the amount of $149,000 for the Public Works Parking Lot Project. Any other questions or discussion? Mr. Brower? Yes. Mr. Exler?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
yes.
Mr. Kirk?
Yes.
Item
Thank you,
number
Mr.
8.
Mayor.
Thank you, Tim. Item number 8, new business, approved professional services agreement in the amount of $21,738 with Goodwin Mills and Kaywood to continue to provide the city water quality monitoring services for the year 2024. And this would be line item number 505, 4440, 522330. Tim, is this your item?
That's
Speak
one
to it.
Jonathan has been working on, but that's our annual monitoring that state requires.
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Brower, second by Mr. Exler to approve professional services agreement in the amount of $21,738 with Goodwin Mills and Cablewood to continue to provide the city water quality monitoring services in 2024. Any other question or discussion?
I'll say it like I have the last 3 years. That is ridiculous for water monitoring, and that's the only place that can do it. I would really love to find a cheaper way to do that. Almost $25,000 for water monitoring, that is ridiculous.
That's,
I agree.
they go throughout the city, different creeks and.
I know, but I'm just saying, there's gotta be, I mean, that's the only company that we've been able to get, and I know it's important. I'm not saying it's not important, Tim, I know it's important. Is there
Me, it's not
anybody else that can
important,
do
but
it?
the state requires.
That's the part.
That's the important part.
They should give us money to do it, but
Unfunded mandate.
I get it, absolutely, but I couldn't go by without saying it again this year.
All right, any other question or discussion? Mr. Brown? Yes. Mr. Exler?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Kirk?
Reluctantly, yes.
Item number 9, request approval of the 2024 GMA Telecommunications and Right-of-Way Management subscription in the amount of $6,298.88, line item number 100-1300-5212-00. And I think this is just a renewal, I believe, as I understand it. Anything you need to share with us, Ms. Lewis, on this?
There isn't.
Motion approved.
They should pay us to.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Brower, a second by Mr. Kirkland to approve the 2024 GMA Telecommunications and Right-of-Way Management subscription in the amount of $6,298.88. Any other questions or discussion? Mr. Brower? Yes. Mr. Exler?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Kirkland?
Yes.
Item number 10, new business, is approve the project proposal for Greenside Bar and Grill to lease and operate the restaurant portion of the clubhouse at the Rankin Golf Course for an initial 10-year term. How are you, sir?
Doing well, sir. How are you?
Good.
Good evening, council. My name is Jordan Bala. I'm going to be speaking majority of the time on behalf of the partners for Greenside Bar and Grill. Does anybody not have a copy that would like one of the bid or proposal?
You got one?
No, do not.
They have that.
No, you got that.
Well, I'm very excited about that.
I know it's a lot to kind of sift through. In summary, if you will, a handful of us either were or currently still are Rankin residents. A handful of us either are or were members of the Rankin Golf Course. And we remember what that clubhouse used to be in years past and how much of a commodity it was to the community of Lost Plantation and honestly to the residents of Rankin. And to be completely honest and as blunt as I can, it's kind of fell by the wayside. And, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I know there are a lot of members of that neighborhood that feel like they're not even welcome up there because they're not members of the golf course. And our entire goal and objective is to create a new scene, a new environment that is welcoming not only for the members of Rankin Golf Course and all of the golfers that come through there, but also the residents and members of the neighborhood of Lost Plantation as well. We don't want you to feel like you have to be a golfer to come up there and be able to enjoy a date night with your significant other or bring your kids up to have a decent meal at a safe space that you can hang out, and then also in later evening, have a little bit of alone time with your significant other to enjoy as well. But I'm more than happy to answer any questions if anybody has anything specific. We included some current photos of the current conditions of the clubhouse, and as I mentioned, it's kind of fallen by the wayside. some of the estimated startup costs and projected numbers that we're putting forward is to do a 75% complete renovation on that building. And the reason I say 75 is because we're not tearing the building down itself and starting from scratch. The reason we feel this hasn't worked with past renters or tenants is because they're trying to just slap a new name and new sticker on a same environment and same space, and clearly that's not working. So we're wanting to give this space an entire new facelift to really bring it to life back to what it used to be, which was an enjoyable space for the community.
Jordan, could you spell your last name for me?
Spell it?
Yes, please.
Bala, B-A-L-A.
I support this. I think it's great. I think my only concern is the same as we had with previous tenants is there a reason why you don't want to get your own internet and phone? I think the city being responsible for your internet and your phone for your business, if something were to happen and we had some issues, we don't want you coming and saying, well, the city didn't provide me internet, I couldn't be open because my phone was down. I would much rather, me personally, I can't speak for them, but me personally, I'd rather you have your own internet, your own phone, so you have control of your own destiny. So is there a reason why?
Well, I know the current standing, if you even call the clubhouse at this moment, there is a phone menu that you have the option to dial directly to the bistro, which unfortunately is out of commission. So that's part of the pitch for why we covered it that way, because we don't want it to get confusing for any of the residents. If Rankin Golf Course has one number, our whole goal is that while yes, we are a separate entity, we're coercive and we work as one with the city and with the golf course to where it should not be of any red flag to anyone coming in that we are not part of representing the city and representing the course.
Well, I don't think we want you, I mean, we appreciate you being there, but we don't want you representing the city. We want you to be a partner to the city.
I understand, well, absolutely.
And so, and I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I mean, me personally, I am a small business owner. I want to be in control of my own destiny, and I don't want, to be able to do that, but I'll leave that up to you guys. And my second question was, how are you going to determine, you mentioned in here about a percentage going back to the course. How are you going to determine that? How's that going to work? I just want to understand.
So we didn't set a set percentage, I mean, obviously for a certain purpose, but the way we've kind of tossed it up in the air without putting it in writing as of this moment is, for instance, let's say at the end of the year, we're going through budgets on the course and we know that the greens need to be aerated. We know that a little bit of work needs to go into the outhouse right before you hit, I believe it's hole 14 for the long par 4. If we're doing fairly well and obviously the golf course is seeing more amount of rounds, we want to, again, not necessarily represent the city and the course, but work with them because it's a symbiotic relationship. If we help the conditions of the course, it's only going to draw more attention that the course is already receiving with the influx of residents moving to this area already.
And Raymond, how is that gonna work with if they're gonna take over the beverage cart and we own the beverage cart, do we have to surplus it in order for them to have it? How is that gonna work?
No, the easiest way for liability purposes would be to lease that to them where they run their own operation. Even if it's in an agreement where it's just for $1, it needs to be their entire business if they're gonna be selling alcohol out on the golf course. That way the liability is not on the city in that regard.
So it could just be a part of the lease agreement,
It could,
identified specifically.
yeah, but exactly, it needs to be identified specifically in that lease.
And the very last question that is for Raymond as well is, a 10-year lease, is that kind of normal?
Well, what I saw, it's not,
Okay.
and it's not allowed, but I saw in here that it was a 90-day notice it could be given for cancellation. So with that being the case, normally your lease needs to, you can't bind future councils with your vote. So it needs to be able to be terminated if for any reason there are expenses that the city can't pay for budget-wise, And that's included in here to some extent because I see where the city's responsible for upkeep and maintenance after they do their initial investment. So that's the only downside with the government with leases, so.
So it can be a 4-year with the option to renew every 4 years?
I mean, you can have it, you can set it for 10 years, but it's gotta have a provision in that automatically renews every year. There has to be a way for the council, future councils to terminate that agreement as you move forward, so.
And then obviously, they would need to have something in there that would protect them, because they're probably the first person that's ever walked in the door and said, we're gonna invest, $75,000 or $65,000 into something that nobody's ever done that. Everybody that's walked in that door has tried to figure out how we can kick this business off using the city. How can we generate business using the city? And you guys have come in with more of a partnership, like you said. To me, it's a partnership, and obviously, if your council changed, I mean, you can't say, hey, those guys are, holding for the money that they put into it.
So normally the way that works is there's a percentage that's agreed upon that comes off every year. In other words, if just for practical purposes, if they invest $100,000 and you do 10% or 15% every year, it reduces that 100,000. And if the city terminates it, then the city would have to pay them back for those renovations. But if it's their fault for the breach of contract and it's terminated, then the city wouldn't do anything in that regard. But that's normally how that is handled, so that it still leaves the city contract with a private entity legal, and it gives it doesn't bind future councils, and councils can get out of that contract, so to speak. But they would still have to pay based on whatever that percentage is that's left at that point.
So that amount would depreciate each year.
You could call it depreciation.
But not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The equipment that's currently in the bistro, or what do we call it right now?
The bistro.
The equipment that's currently in there, you guys would want your lease to include the use of that equipment that's currently in place, right?
Correct.
So how does that work, Raymond, with regard to maintenance and repair of that equipment?
Well, that was something that I had a question about, but because it says that that's the maintenance. One of the things that's in there is the hood system. And normally that's usually the restaurant's responsibility to maintain that, because you've got to have it cleaned every so often and maintain it. That's a health department requirement also. So that's something that would have to be worked out in the details and the agreement, that those things like that would be, it's usually a responsibility of the operator restaurant versus the city, especially if you're using that equipment. And I'm just assuming that the $2,500 would include, your bid would include supposedly the lease or rental of that equipment.
Correct, and that's part of the purpose for why we placed the bid as high as we did. The city of Rincon is a very small town, and we're very aware of what previous tenants were offering. And the reason we pitched a 10-year lease was because we're trying to showcase how serious we are about this bid, about this project. Obviously, we want to work with the city and with the course, with whatever we're permitted to do. But we're in this for the long haul. Otherwise, we wouldn't be.
So there are additional costs also on this upkeep, and that's the reason why you've got to really be careful when you look at this. Not only the hood system, the extinguishment system that goes along with the hood has to be checked every so often. The
dishwasher, the hot water.
Well, all of that,
Is there a grease trap?
but the grease trap is going to have to be pumped and cleaned every so often. There's a schedule usually that restaurants are on, but even down to pest control and stuff like that. I mean,
Right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as like the grease trap or anything is concerned, that obviously the city is not using in any sense, the golf course isn't using the grease trap. Obviously, us as tenants would be responsible for that. But as far as the maintenance aspect, because we're renting current equipment that is already in there, we're going to be using equipment that the city has paid for and provided. If that fryer goes down within the first week of us using it, that's kind of part of the agreement that we're looking to have, is that we're taking on the use of equipment that the city has said, hey, this is good to go. It's capable and useful and in condition to be used further out.
I think there would be some things specific to your type of operation that would need to be more clearly identified in the agreement, such as the hood and the
Well,
grease
the
trap.
equipment is gonna have a life expectancy on it, so, I'm not sure how you would word that in the agreement. Because are you asking that the city be, for instance, the fryer, let's just use the fryer. I don't know how old the fryer is or how much life is left in it, but is that something that you're saying that the rental of it is included in the lease, but if it goes out and has to be replaced, the city has to replace it? Is that what you're asking?
I think and again, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think the way that we would agree to pitch that is, if we replace that equipment and then for some reason the lease is terminated, that would be our equipment from that point forward, to where we would be able to take that with us after the termination.
Yeah, I don't think they have a problem with that,
Or give us the option to purchase it if you did buy it.
Nah, you wouldn't want that too.
Well, I mean, I understand,
take
but for certain things, we would want the option to purchase so it can stay in place.
No, you wanna go out and buy a new one.
I think there's a lot of things that still need to be hammered out like this. They're minor things, I
This
think, little
sounds like a
things.
workshop.
So we need to make sure that we
With them.
clear all these up, because, this is not a typical, most things you accept as normal in a lease building agreement. And that's air conditioning, plumbing, all those things come under the ownership's responsibility. But then when you get into specifics, like we're talking about here, I think they need to be more clearly identified.
Absolutely.
As far as whose responsibility.
And we're
it is.
more
So
than
I
happy
think we need to do some tweaking on that.
Sure.
To get it so that it meets your needs and ours as well.
And we're more than happy to sit down and discuss what the council and the city feels is most beneficial on the all side as well as on our side, because again, we want this to be a mutual beneficial relationship.
Well, I don't think they're gonna have a problem with the hot water heaters. I think the health department made y'all put in 2 or 3
Yeah.
new ones, 4 of them. That was crazy, but any event.
That's another story.
Other than instant water.
I had 2 commercial and a Lennon to make her happy.
Well, I'm gonna say, I know that people think the food and beverage industry is an easy business, and it's not. And a lot of people go in and they think it's an easy thing to do.
It's
But
not.
you guys are familiar with it, you know what you're getting into, and so it's not new to you. So-
And that being said, when it comes to, I'm Justin Adams, by the way. We've been in business for 12 years down in city markets. Our leases, I think, is 114 pages long. Seriously, we've been through it. I go through it every 5 years where we renew. So we're accustomed to this. We know some things gotta be tweaked and worked out. We were just first step in the process, and we'll move forward from there.
Good, good.
Yeah, we're definitely excited about the partnership.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good thing.
And I think it's great.
Okay. I make a motion, we approve with the exception of getting the lease finalized, and is that good? What else should I say, Raymond?
Yes, subject to approval of the terms of the lease. I think what you're saying is you want to accept the bid
Yes.
with the
Correct.
lease to be worked out.
Right.
Yes,
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Have a motion by Ms. Taylor, second by Mr. Exley, to approve the project proposal for bid for Greenside Bar and Grill to lease and operate the restaurant portion of the clubhouse at Rankin Golf Course for an initial 10-year term, subject to lease agreement finalization. Any other question or discussion? Mr. Brower?
Yes.
Mr. Exley? Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes,
Mr. Craig?
me and Kevin,
Yes.
per the
All
research.
right, thank you, gentlemen, and good luck.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Looking forward to it. All right, we're now moving to administrative reports, and we'll begin with Chief Murray.
Mayor and council, I'm available for questions. I don't think I have a whole lot of, information on today. Hope y'all had a happy Thanksgiving.
Any questions for Chief Murray? Fire Department, Chief Reed.
Mayor and council, I submitted my report. If you guys have any questions.
Any questions for Chief Reed?
You'll probably get an email in the next 48 hours, prospective new employee. Until my last vacancy.
Good.
Anything on the audit, chief? No?
In that 90 to 100 day period, I emailed him the other night, he gave me that email back. No news is good news.
That's my comment too.
Yeah. All right, Building and Zoning, Ms. Lewis.
No report.
Any questions for Ms. Lewis? And Public Works, Mr. Bowles.
No comment.
And no report, huh?
That ain't time, ain't
that time of month yet. And then, let's see, Golf Course, Mr. Bessinger.
You gonna make this long or short?
Short.
It's been an interesting couple weeks. We, just so Mayor and Council knows, we had a little issue with our merchant ID paying us the last couple weeks. They had a glitch in their system. So it finally got fixed today or either Friday. So Finance Department and Hannah was working on stuff today to help us clear our revenues, which is why I didn't submit anything financially. But it will be available to have for the monthly report of November. Weather's not looked good, so that's also hurt us. But good news is, as we sit here right now, the new carts are being built in Augusta. So they'll be put on, the tops are coming on tomorrow. They'll be shipped out tomorrow night. So they'll probably wait for me first thing Thursday, or excuse me, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow is Wednesday. Thursday morning, they'll be here waiting for me to undo. So we're.
Okay, you promised November, so Thursday's the last day.
I've got my GPS units in the golf shop, so I got training tomorrow on the new technology. It's really exciting. So I had a lot of my team, which first of all, I'll also say, appreciate Christy and the rest of the team holding the fort down while I was gone. I didn't really do a whole lot because I was on mountains, so I couldn't really answer, but yeah, so the new carts are gonna be cool. So hopefully we can just get this weather out of here. I know we're supposed to have rain again this weekend, which is not good, but other than that, we're looking forward to a good holiday season. So.
Now that we got the new carts going in, and I know Tim and his crew did a lot of work on the cart pass.
We still got a lot to do.
There's still a lot of work, and I, you know, when I ride, I hate to think, I'm excited about the new carts coming, but I hate to think about them getting beat up on those cart paths, and they are going to get beat up.
Absolutely, we actually lost
we've got to have
green card.
some more detailed plan to address that issue, because otherwise our golf carts are not gonna hold up.
Let's meet and do a workshop on that.
Okay, I was actually just about to say too, I'm looking forward to Monday, having, new superintendent, coming aboard. So I'm looking forward to Mr. Moore being here. So that was one of the things that I wanted to get with him first off was, let's go look at the cart path, ride around, mark off, get with this guy right here.
Oh, good.
So that was one of the things we wanted to do in the first, week or so, because right now is a great opportunity for us, at least on my end, of a little slower downtime.
Right, it's the slow time.
To try to get some of those down like we did some of the other ones, maybe at least with gravel or something. Because we will have cart path only days and our GPS units will require them to stay on the paths or relatively on the paths. So we need to do something with the paths.
Well, let me ask you about that, and I know that typically we always want our golfers to stay on the cart paths. But in some cases, that may not be what we want to do. So I guess my question might be, is in some areas, can we redirect or identify a way for the carts to go that would not go across those bad areas?
Absolutely. So it's called geofencing. So you actually have, just a virtual fence that they can go in. So we can do that because obviously, those of us who've been out to the golf course, we know we also have, I think, 4 holes that don't have cart paths. Maybe it's 5. I can't remember. So we'll have to actually have a better signage too on those days that, hey, take this route here. So that's something that me and Mr. Moore will get with on that, but we will have an opportunity because we don't want to have the wear and tear on these golf carts. You will see, obviously, in some of the wonderful charges that we're having to get the golf carts fixed currently to be able to send back to Club Car. And so some of that is just from our perspective of not doing our job and holding each other accountable in best practices. And then some of it has to do with things like the cart path.
Yeah.
So
Actually, the 4 holes without cart path are probably the best ones for the carts to drive on. The
they
cart
are.
path-
I love
Cart paths
14.
are beating them up.
14 is great, so that's the nice one right there. It's always dry too, so. But yeah, so it's some good exciting times. I know they left, but that's really exciting too, so. I think 2024 is gonna be a great opportunity for the RGC.
Okay, good. Any questions? Mr. Bessie?
Sprinkler, you know that I asked you about it.
December 4th. You're gonna start asking him.
Okay.
I see it.
Okay.
It's turned off.
I know, I want it fixed.
Well, the superintendent will help with that one.
Yeah,
That'll be his job.
Yeah, that's what we said.
Yeah.
That's what I
Absolutely.
asked you about.
He will know how to fix it.
All right. Anything from council members?
The only thing I wanted to add is just before walking in, I did get an email from EMC stating that Omnitrax was on board with letting us utilize our emergency plan out of there. So that was a big positive for us. There might be some additional things that we have to do out there as far as fencing or whatever, but other than that, that takes us 300 yards. We hit their road and we're out of there. And even if they build out, it's still, their plan is to still let us utilize that piece.
That's awesome.
Good news.
Good news, real good news.
Anything else from other council members?
Is there any update on the Georgia Avenue lane situation? Maybe Jonathan's not here, but does anybody know anything about that?
Asked about it today, and they, David said, I wrote it up there, that David said that we would, meet, they were meeting December 4th with that gentleman about the property there, that they had a plan for it, and they were gonna meet with him the week of the 4th, and then they would have an answer, that's what he told me today. Yeah, they're moving forward with whatever their plan may be to get that guy's shed off of that piece of property.
That might be a challenge.
Thank you.
All right, anything from other council members?
I just had a question. Are we gonna wait until they finish the second round of their rec department directors before we see those applicants? I I get it that those are the top, whatever, but I'd like to at least see.
Yeah, I was wondering about
And if
that,
not, then that's fine. We can wait until he gives us whatever his pick is.
I haven't seen it.
Well,
I haven't either.
I wanna add to that, I still think that council needs to review the people that are being,
I agree.
I mean, just to look at it, you know what I mean?
That's why I was saying they did the first round, but I'd
That's
like
right.
to see, since they're going through the
So look
second
at all
round,
of
to
them.
be able to look at those so we can
That's
take a look
right.
at them.
I agree.
So, Phil Sanitary, can you ask Jonathan to send those out to us, please, and dispatch? And include the 2 new council women as well, please?
Yeah. I would like to ask the mayor, to swear me in, when we do that in January.
I have to. All right, anything else from council? Do we have a need for an executive session? That sounds good to me.
We're getting out of here early.
All right, that being the case, motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Blackwell, second by Mr. Brower to adjourn. Mr. Brower? Yes. Mr. Exley?
Yes.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Kirk?
Tim.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Bye.